Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how I do my full coverage foundation using my favourite brushes and products. Now recently I was a coordinator for a dance at Stedford that went for 5 days, and these were long hard days. These were putting on my makeup at 5:30 in the morning and then not getting home until 8:30 or later at night. And I needed a foundation routine that didn't require touching up during the day because, to be quite honest, I did not have time to powder my face, to reapply concealer or blush or any of those things. I didn't even have time to sit down most of the time, so I needed something that was going to work for me. And let me tell you, this worked for me and I'm so happy, and I want to share it with you guys. So if you want to know how I do my full coverage foundation routine, which literally lasts like 12 plus hours, then just keep watching. Okay, so I am starting with clean moisturized skin, and after I've done my skincare, what I like to do next is use my Urban Decay De-Slick Setting Spray. You're supposed to use this after your skincare and then after you apply your foundation, and that is supposed to really help with the oiliness because everyone knows I have oily skin. So just give it a shake and a spray. I generally do about 3 sprays and then you have to let it dry. Then I use a primer. I use a primer no matter how light or how heavy my face makeup is going to be, no matter where I'm going, because I have very large pores and I don't like them. So I always use a primer. So I've got a few here that I use. First, I use my Rimmel Fix and Perfect Primer, which is the white coloured one. I think you get one that's like orange or something. That's rather strange, but that's one I like to use. Another one I like to use is Too Faced Primed and Poreless, which is a flesh tone primer, but it goes on translucent, so don't worry about that. And the last one I have, which is my current favourite, is Benefit's Pore-fessional, which is also a flesh tone primer, but it goes on translucent just like the primed and poreless. So I really like this one as well, so I'm going to be using this one today. I do give it a little bit of a shake because I find if I don't, it comes out a bit watery at the start, which I don't like. So I just get a little bit on my fingers. I'm going to put 3 little dots of it on the areas where my pores are massive. So that is my cheeks and my forehead, and then I'm just going to rub it in with my fingers. I also take the primer onto my nose, onto the lower part of my cheeks, and then my chin as well. So pretty much all over. But I do like to focus it where my pores are the largest. Okay, moving on to foundation. When I want a flawless full coverage foundation, I always go for my Revlon Colourstay combination oily type in Buff. That's my shade, Buff. I think it's 150. Yep, 150 Buff. I love this foundation. It is my favorite foundation. The fact that it doesn't have a pump doesn't bother me at all. The scent doesn't bother me at all because it doesn't linger. Now they've just recently released it with a pump, so that's really good for girls who much prefer a pump. But it doesn't bother me. Today I am going to use my Good Karma brush. Now with the Revlon Colourstay, it dries quite quickly, so you have to work fairly quick. So I just take a bit on my finger there and then I dot it on just one section of my face that I'm going to do first because it dries so quickly. Then I take my buffing brush and I just do little circular motions, buffing that into my skin. I do like to avoid the under eye area, as we're going to be putting under eye concealer there anyway, and I just don't want a build up of product because then it's just going to look cakey and nasty. I particularly find that, you know, it cakes up quite quickly and easily underneath my eyes. Down my neck, although this shade is a really good match for me, so I don't have to worry too much about that. My ear as well, remember your ears, and then into your hairline. Most of the time I just use one layer foundation. If I find I have quite a lot of redness or blemishes, then I will use 2, but I don't get that a lot nowadays because I'm using my Proactive. If I want a really flawless look, then I will go with two thin layers. Alright, so that's one layer of foundation. I'm just going to go in with the second layer on my chin and just around my nose area there. It's just a bit red. Now for concealer, I've got 2 that I'm using at the moment. This one is the Maybelline Dream Lumi Concealer in Ivory. And it's kind of a light to medium concealer, I would say. I do have to touch up throughout the day for my under eye circles because they've been quite bad recently because of having lack of sleep. But, and because of that, I've switched up my concealer to the Covergirl Olay under eye concealer. This concealer is quite a thick concealer. It has a funny smell too, but anyway. So you do have to be careful that it doesn't look too dry and cakey underneath your eyes. So what I do is I just really put a lot of moisturizer underneath my eyes, eye moisturizer underneath my eyes, so that it doesn't get cakey. So this is the little pot, and I just go in with my finger because it is so thick. It really needs the heat of your finger to warm it up and move it around. So I've just got that much on my finger, and I'm going underneath my eye, and then I like to put it in the inner corner in here because the skin is so thin there. You do see some blue shades coming through there. It's actually a really good concealer. I find most of the time I don't have to touch up during the day, which is really good because the more you touch up, the more cakey it looks, and we don't want cakey, do we? Alright, now that I've done with my concealer and foundation, I'm going to go in with the second spray of my De-Slick setting spray. Now I always powder my skin because I have oily skin. So my favourite powder that I like to use is my MAC Blot Press powder in medium dark. But you don't really have to take too much notice of the shade because it doesn't transfer colour that much. It's more so just to control oil. It comes with a little powder puff, and I actually use this. I much prefer using this to, say, a brush, because I'm a believer in packing the product onto your skin, pressing it in so that it'll stay there. That's just what I think. That's my little theory. But if I do use a brush, I will use the F30 by Sigma, which is just a massive brush and it's really soft. Today I'm going to use the little powder puff that comes with it. I've already hit pan on this one, you can see, but it's okay because I have a backup. Now I mainly focus this on the areas that I get oily the most, which is my chin and nose and cheeks. I'm just pretty much get oily all over. I've got fantastic skin, don't I? And then my forehead as well. I like the matte look, so then I can add the shimmer on my face, the dewiness on my face wherever I want it, and I can control it. Moving on to highlighter, blush and contour. The order that I like to do it in is contouring first, then my blush, and then my highlighter. So there's a few products that I like to contour with. The first one is NYC's bronzer in Sunny, which is looking a little orange there. I do find it is on the orangey side. No one else has picked up on that though, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Next is NARS Laguna. It's a good old favourite. And then we have the e.l.f. Duo bronzer and blush duo. This one is quite dark, so whiteys like me have to be very careful with how much they use. The Laguna bronzer is kind of in the middle, and then I would say that the Sunny bronzer is sort of the lightest one. But today I am going to go with my Laguna. Now with Laguna, I like to use an F40, Sigma F40. This is an angled brush. I just find it fits really well. I'm sure you all know, but where you put your contouring shade is just underneath the cheekbone here. So you can either suck in your cheeks, like that, or you can find your bone and just press underneath. So that's where mine is, just there. So I'm just going to press there for a little bit, and it kind of creates that line. So that is where I'm going to put my contour. I like to focus it mainly towards the back and then bring it lighter towards the front. On the other side, find your cheekbone just underneath it, and that's where I'm going to put my contour. This will just give my face a little more definition, make it look a little more slimmer and less, I don't know, heart shape? Do you think I have a heart shaped face? I don't know, maybe. I also put, if I have my hair pulled back like this, I also put a little bit up here. The idea is to make a 3 shape or an E on your face. So you go from up here, down here, and then down here. So up here, down underneath your cheekbone, and then on your jawline. For blush, I mainly use the F10. But I do have quite a few F40s lying around, so I have a second one here. Sometimes I'll use this one. Most of the time I will use this one. But today I'm going to be different, and I'm going to use this one. So this is a second one. This isn't my contouring one. This is the second one. And the blush I'm going to be using is Berry Merry by e.l.f. This is just a really, really pretty berry shade with golden shimmer in it. I love it. They're also very pigmented, so be careful. And I just pretty much put that right on the apples of my cheeks. Less is more. Build it up. That's what I say. Alright, last thing is highlighter. Now, I love me some highlighter, okay, I'm not gonna lie. There's a couple highlighters that I'm loving at the moment. My first highlighter I ever bought was NYX Mosaic Highlighter in Highlighter. Fancy that. It's a really light, quite pigmented highlighter, which I love. The next two I have is Benefit High Beam, which is a liquid highlighter. How I use this is I take a little bit, I dab it onto the back of my hand. Then I will take a brush like the F15, I'll swirl it around so it's evenly distributed, and then I'll just tap it on my cheekbones and on my temples and blend quickly because it does dry quite quickly. So that's one, but the one I'm going to be using today is MAC's Mineralized Skin Finish in Soft and Gentle, which is beautiful. I love this shade. So I am going to use it on another F40. This one I got in my Paris palette. Just a little cute baby one. Now I love my highlighter, so I put mine on the tops of my cheekbones and on my temple. This is why I love a matte face, because I can control how much shimmer and dewiness and glowiness I'm going to have. Love me some highlighter. And then I take my ring finger and I just rub it around, so I got a bit of my finger. Then I'll go down the center of my nose, blend it out so it's not too shimmery, and also a little bit on my cupid's bow. And then lastly, what I like to do is my brows. So I use the Sigma Beauty Expert Kit. And firstly, what I like to do is I like to brush out my brows. So I just use the little brush that comes in with it, which is a spoolie on one end and then an angled brush on the other. So I just brush out my brows. I was blessed with quite thick brows, so they don't need much filling in. But I do have a few sparse sections. So I will use the shade Bella here. And get a little bit on my brush. On my left eyebrow, it's just a bit thin at the top, so I just like to trace that out. It's not as long as my right eyebrow as well, so I just make it a little bit longer. The other one needs a little bit of the same, not much though. Just brush them out again a little bit. Then I'll take the clear, not so clear brow gel that comes with the kit, and I'll just brush through them. So I set them and they don't move. And that is it for my face makeup. I'm just gonna go and do the rest of my makeup and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I finished applying the rest of my makeup. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you out with your full coverage foundation routine and gives you some tips and ideas of what to do. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys. Bye.